Hello, everyone, and today we are speaking with Aaron and Bernadette Christie David from Atelier Wealth. Hi, guys, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
Great, thanks. Could you tell us a bit about your business? How many staff you've got, where you're located, and the sort of loans that you write?
Yeah, sure thing. So Bernie and I run a business called Atelier Wealth. So all we do is residential mortgage broking, and we have two offices, one based in Sydney, in the city, and another based down in Thurrool, which is where we live as well on the south coast. And we will turn 4 in July this year. So we've been operating for nearly 4 years. And over the last 4 years, it's been a general progression in terms of building our team, as you mentioned, as a support team. We have now grown that to all of us onshore is 4, and then our offshore team is at 5 now.
So you're husband and wife. Could you talk a bit about how you split the responsibilities between you? And also, could you talk a bit about the niching that you do? Because I think the way you work together in that area is quite interesting.
Yeah, so I think at a business level, Andrew, we split the business in terms of function. So I've predominantly taken on, I guess, marketing, sales, or the front end business relationships. And then Bernadette's focus has been mainly around the financials, the bookkeeping, human resources, teams, operations. So that has kind of split the business. We're not stepping on each other's toes too much. And from a client and a niching point of view, I lean more towards investors. Is my niche, and
I work with primarily self-employed clients.
So what made you choose those niches, and why do you niche in the first place?
So, for me, self-employed, I've got a background as an accountant. So I have a degree in accounting, and I also worked as a cadet accountant for about 3 years. So I've got a very strong understanding of financials, tax returns, and also working with accountants. So for me, I naturally gravitate towards referral partners that are accountants, financial planners. Those referral partners are typically a little bit more detailed. And then sometimes with self-employed, you are working with numbers that can be, or a scenario that can be a little bit more complex. So perhaps looking at financials or BASs and trying to be as creative as possible while finding a good outcome for the client. And for Aaron?
And then, with investors, we've bought a couple of properties. So for us, we're on the journey, and I guess for me, being able to connect with investors, understand, I guess, their pain points if they're trying to build a portfolio as well. And then a lot of my referral partners tend to be buyers agents and accountants as well, who specialize in this space. And then I guess for us, the benefits of niching is when a client comes to us, one is we tend to know policy very well, or quite well. So that means we're not being a generalist, and it works for us. I'm not saying this is the answer for every broker out there. It's just what works for us in our business, mate, where when someone comes to us and like, yes, here's how we call people very much like you in the past. Here's your pain points, here's your frustrations, here's your fears. And then when you explain that to a new inquiry or someone's been referred to our business, you almost feel like their broker of choice. So that's what you're trying to position yourself when it comes to, I guess, authority as well. And then you get a feel for like, who do you really love to work with? So in terms of an ideal client, I tend to like a white collar professional, 30s and 40s, has a family, looking to build a property portfolio, not trying to take over the world with 15 properties, but a very manageable, very quality type portfolio. So I guess from a values and an outlook on life, there's a connection there already. A generalist means that you're trying to be a jack of all trades. I think we've flipped it around to why don't we be a master and get to know our niche? So it's kind of where you talk an inch wide but a mile deep. And that's something that was kind of one of the early one of the early sayings that I really kind of resonated with was like, you see people that gravitate and have like a really strong niche in, say, first home buyers. They know all the bank policy, they know all the tips, they know all the insights, they know all the ways to really buy your first home and do that very well. So we're saying, right, if we understand investors, that can be a space that we own, that I go, yep, I understand if you're a first time investor, I understand if you're looking to use equity, I understand if you're looking to build a portfolio. We have a tried, we have a tested way of going about it as well. And that means we understand bank policy extremely well. And I think that's the biggest advantage, because bank policy changes so much or so frequently, that if you understand your niche, you understand, effectively we're paid to be problem solvers, right, Andrew, as brokers. So if you say, look, here's I can solve your problem, by niching, you just suddenly attract your ideal client. So you're not having to pitch as much every single time. And the other part is the client experience gets a lot easier, because you generally know what happens when, what are the issues, what are the challenges, and the ongoing post-settlement support. Again, it becomes easier because as an investor, we want to do annual reviews, we want to try and revalue, we want to try and pull equity out. Great, we've got the bandwidth, we've got the process to do it, because it's been done over and over again as well. We've fine-tuned it, we've perfected, we've learned from mistakes as well.
So you become like the go-to people in this particular area.
Ultimately, that's what you're trying to do, right? You get a bit of runs on the board, you get some credibility. Your ideal client then refers, their friends are birds of a feather, and so their community, your credibility starts to grow. You become a bit more of an attraction type broker. Everything about it becomes great, because you can put out messaging that resonates with your target market. Your cost of acquisition starts to go down, because people may be coming to you as well, and they're coming maybe a little more pre-qualified, in the sense of they want to work with you, or they've kind of heard how you could help someone similar in the past. Yeah, mate, so I see all the advantages. And I guess being a generalist means that if I was to go toe-to-toe with someone on asset finance, I wouldn't know how to do it. So they would probably win, and then I'm spending a lot of energy on a deal that potentially I can't win or won't win.
Yeah, energy and time, isn't it? Because when you know your clients, you know what they're looking for, you know what banks you can go to, you save a lot of time, and you're a lot more efficient in the way that you're able to process that loan and service the client. Where when you're a generalist, at times you can get caught trying to remember what's that policy again, calling out BDMs or credit scenario teams to try and refresh your memory. Whereas when you're working with the same sets of clients on a regular basis, you don't have to do that. A lot of that stuff becomes redundant, because you already know it. You know all that stuff intuitively.
I'm always big on niching, mate. So for me, niching will almost automatically solve the lead problem, because you're going to be able to talk to your target market far easier, which almost goes contradictory to not the whole industry, but a lot of what we get told, which is diversify. It's like, mate, if we were trying to do commercial, we'd struggle, because commercial brokers would wipe the floor with us, right? Whereas if we're really strong in investment lending, that means we can talk to buyers agents very much easily, and even be able to refer out to them, which is what they love for us and their business, if we could serve on the client as well. So I think for us, understanding the power of niching, it's not going to be the golden ticket to your lead problems, but it could definitely solve part of that problem.
Could you talk a bit about your process from start to finish?
We've done a fair bit of work around this, Andrew, which is like the end-to-end mapping. And I think as we keep going, we keep breaking it and putting it back together. So it works for us right here, right now. We've made, again, we learned from plenty of mistakes that we've made. So I guess the start is, how do we get the lead in? How do we get them to book in using some tools like Calendly, for example? So they book in. We have a very much standardized way that we engage them at the start. And so straight away, they'll self-select about using the time to come into our diaries as well. And then they're organized, they've set up the time. We can go through the meeting. It's kind of very structured agenda in terms of our 15, 20-minute call. Can we help you? Are we the right broker fit for you as well? What's your problems? What's your challenges? So after that call is then when we start to go, okay, are we looking to do something now? And if it's almost a now type scenario, that's when you go straight to broker pad. And there's a couple of reasons why we certainly are big advocates for broker pad. One is we don't want customers emailing sensitive documents. That to me is just like, doesn't matter what platform, what provider you use, that in itself should be the conduit that you take everything out of email and put it onto a secure platform. And so we've gone through a whole process around, doesn't matter how much information is in there, there's more risk to emailing your personal sensitive documents than spending extra 10 minutes on an online fact find. And so when you explain that to a new customer, straight away we're taking away a huge risk from them as well.
And then a big part as well with the broker pad link, obviously you capture all the essential information, assets, liabilities, living expenses. but we can attach our credit guide to that. So in those very early stages, we're already completing our compliance requirements in those early stages as well.
So after that, you send out the broker pad link. The client then fills out the fact find, uploads all their documents. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, I mean, because that's really high value, which is deal structuring perhaps, or the scenario work. Damien in our team he's what we call a para broker, a bit like a credit analyst in-house. So Damien will then take all the documents, all the data, all the information and start to do the workshopping on the deal. Whether that means we're shortlisting interest rates, whether that means we're shortlisting lenders, doing the actual serviceability as well. That's super high value, super important work. So that's between Damien, Bernie and myself. At any point we're doing the deal structuring, and at that point then it's the presentation side. So once we've got options, present our clients with options, and then we're talking about next steps if that entails an application, or if that's just waiting to see if they find a property, for example. But at least we've got to the point where we've got documents, we've vetted it, because I think in the past it relied on people to say, here's how much I earned, but then we missed credit cards, we missed leases, we missed salary sacrifices, undisclosed debts or living expenses, whatever it was that seemed to catch us out when we went to application stage, and then we're back to square one. And I was like, well, hang on, why don't we ask this up front? And then we can accurately give you options. Again, when you explain to a new client that we're trying to do this to help you, not to be difficult with, because I mean, one of our big values is be easy to do business with, but it's almost like a catch-22, because if you try to be too easy, you're not asking for enough information, and then you end up coming back to the start, which is you need these docs and this information, right? So you tell a very fine line to go, we want to be easy, but that doesn't mean we can be non-compliant or be a bit loose around information. So,
well, that's been great. Thanks very much for your time, and I hope other brokers find benefit in this. So,
and we love it. We'd love to see what you guys are doing, because we're learning. We're always on the journey to learn. Like, we saw what Amy Small has done. We see what you guys do from like best practice sharing. So anyway, that we can kind of pay it forward and help others get better at their businesses in any way that we can, because we're always learning ourselves, mate.